Welcome to Stache, to another episode of Stache Sports. Yes, I know we've been off lately for the last couple of days, so we missed some sports, but we'll go over and we'll talk about some current sports and current topics. And today there's going to be no jokes because it's all true on Stache Sports, even though it's April 1st. So on Sunday, we had two good March Madness games. We had Michigan and Tennessee, but that wasn't that good a game. Michigan kind of controlled that whole game and led and beat them pretty bad. Beat Tennessee pretty bad. Tennessee was a 60, but upset Iowa State. Iowa State might have been the better game, but Tennessee upset Iowa State going into that game. I mean, Michigan's looking pretty good. Michigan and Arizona are one of the top two teams, and I think those two teams could be the teams that win it all this year. But we'll see. We have the Final Four, and we have Illinois. They've won their game on Saturday night. I can't remember if I talked about that in my last episode, but they're in there for the first time since 2005. And Arizona won, and they're in there for the first time since 2001. I can't believe that they haven't been there since 2001. Arizona Wildcats always seem like they've always been in there, always in the March Madness. So I thought they were sometimes in the Final Four, but I guess not. So they'll be there for the first time in 25 years. Michigan won, and they'll get there. Duke should have won that game. Duke blew that game. Duke had a 19-point lead at one time, or a 14-point lead, a big lead. But UConn and Dan Hurley's scrappy Huskies came back and chipped away at that game. That's why UConn has a pretty good basketball program. They put all their money in the basketball program and it showed up. But the kids never gave up. But the kids didn't give up in the UConn game, and they came back and chipped away and somehow ended up winning that game. That was a wild game. That's why they call it March Madness. That's why they call it March Madness. I couldn't believe that Duke won. Or lost, I mean. Duke had a chance to win it. Duke should have held the ball out and passed it on to somebody, but they coughed the ball up, and one of UConn players had a long distance three to help win a game, help win a game. To help win them the game. And then Duke didn't have enough time after that to get the ball in and get a shot off. So that's why UConn won. That's why Duke lost. But Duke did blow it. Some people might say, like Dave Portnoy might say that, from Barstool Sports might say that Duke choked. I mean, Duke did have the lead the whole game and lost by 1 point. I mean, some other people could say that was such a good game. It's 73-72. I had Duke going pretty far. Camboose had 27 points, but should have held on to the ball or passed it or tried to get the foul. I mean, they could have gone to the foul line, and if they would have made 2 free throws, it would have ended the game. Besides when they turned it over. And I know sometimes it's just good luck to hit a free from that far out. That he hit it from near the logo, but from far out. But I mean, I get it. That's just luck sometimes. But come on, they should. I mean, I know Dan Hurley he's a really good basketball coach, and is really good in March Madness and gets the point spread and always can win. And UConn has a good team, and so does Duke. But Duke blew it. They should have won that game. But congratulations to UConn. I mean, that was a good game. That's all you really want to see if you don't really have a real invested team in it. Even if you do have a team go all the way, even if you have Duke going far, you like to see that close games. You like to see the team come back and have the close games until the very last minute. I mean, you don't like to see those games like Michigan where they're destroying Tennessee and it wasn't even close to Tennessee. But that was a good ending to the game, even though Duke lost. Mullins had the winning shot. Barley Mullins retrieved a loose ball, which is more of a turnover near midcourt, and passed it to one of the other players, got passed back and won the game. So that's how UConn won. If you had UConn going pretty far and going to the Final Four, I guess you're happy in your bracket. I mean, I didn't have UConn winning, I have Arizona winning my brackets. and Michigan in one of my brackets. I did have Duke winning in one of my friends' brackets, so that's not going to be good anymore. But I am doing better than Robbie Snyder in that one, so that's good. But UConn won 73-72. Now to play Illinois on Saturday, and we'll get to that later. But Duke just keep it held high. It's going to be interesting to see how many people from Duke return back next year, go to the transfer portal now, or even go to the NBA. Because in college basketball, you can leave after 1 year. I mean, Cam Boozer might go to the NBA, or he might come back to help him win. I mean, there were a whole bunch of young guys, so Duke's going to be back in again next year. Duke's always in it, so it is interesting to see UConn win it. UConn and Duke have a rivalry, and UConn is doing good. UConn has a real good coach in Dan Hurley. That's one of the good coaches. I know some people don't like how he coaches because he's a little rough and old school and yells at the players, but that's what some players need. They don't need these coaches that just baby them all the way. They need somebody's harder coaches, but that's good for UConn. Michigan's playing Arizona, but I still think, like I said, I think the winner of Michigan-Arizona is going to be the winner of the championship this year. Because Michigan beat Tennessee 96-62, so that's a pretty big margin. And Arizona won their game was pretty big too. And Arizona came back against the team they were playing, against Arkansas, against Purdue, and won 79-64. But they were down at halftime, but they came back and won that game. And Arizona, they're just looking like a good team. They just have really good defenses that they both play well, Michigan and Arizona. So that's going to be a good game. That's the second game, but we'll get to that later on Saturday's episode, not today's episode. But I mean, Duke did have a nice chance of making it, but they made it that far. I mean, they need to have the heads up high. I mean, it was a rough, tough loss, but that's something you like in college basketball. That's why you don't bet, because then you might have lost money if you would have bet on Duke to win. But that was a close game. I mean, that was a really good game. Even though Duke lost, and I was rooting for Duke, but that was a decent game. Right now, the Penguins season is coming near an end. The regular season, they still have a good chance of making the playoffs because they're number 2 in the division after having 2 major wins last night and the night before. Having 2 major wins last night and the night before. On Monday night, today's Wednesday. They played the Islanders. The Islanders were right behind them. The Penguins were down 3-0, and it didn't look good for the Penguins. And they much needed that much win in regulation and overtime. They needed to get to 2 points over to 1 point or no points. But the Penguins didn't give up like they always do this year. These young fighting Penguins didn't give up, and they smashed them. Igor Shukhodov, or however you say his name, for the Islanders just collapsed in the third period, and didn't do good at all, or second period, and didn't do good at all. Or I guess the first period there's no goals, excuse me. And then it was 2-0 Islanders, and then 3-1 Islanders, and then the Penguins scored 4 goals after that. And then the Penguins tied it up and then scored a couple more goals with Ricardo Rakell scoring, with Elmer Sloteboom scoring the first goal. I can't believe Elmore. He's one of these huge hockey players. He's like 6'4", and it's interesting watching him next to Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and seeing how big he is compared to the other players. It's quite impressive to see how big Elmore Sloteboom is. And then Ricardo Rakell had a shorthanded goal. And it's nice to see shorthanded goals for the Penguins, making it 3-2. And then Ryan Shea had another goal, making it 3-1, 3-3. And then Anthony Maffa had a game-winning goal, making it 4-3 and 5-3. And then Avery scored, Ricardo Rakell scored, and Brian Rush scored. And in that game, we got Crosby back, but we didn't have Evgeny Malkin. So that's nice to see the Penguins winning that game. And that's much needed 2 points. And much needed way to start a doubleheader between them and Detroit, but they need to win again on Tuesday night. to get a much-needed 2 points again. But that's nice to see the Penguins win. I mean, they needed a win. That was a good win, even away in New York. So that's a good win to help them try to get in the playoffs and help them not fight for a wild card. But they need to keep winning. They don't need to lose. They need to get on a hot streak right now like they are and keep it on. But that's good they won. But I can't believe Anthony Maffa. Last night on the night sports call, they were talking about Anthony Maffa, how much he was signing for. Some people said let him walk. Bob was saying maybe if you can get him for like a three-year deal, maybe you let him walk. But he is getting older, and they do have a lot of draft picks, so it's going to be interesting to see what Kyle Dubas has do with him. But I mean, even if he doesn't do anything, and he can lead us into a good playoff run, at least Kyle Dubas and Anthony Maffa do good, and Anthony Maffa can go somewhere else and get a nice payday. But we'll see. I kind of want them to keep Anthony Maffa because he's doing pretty good, but I trust Kyle Dubas. I mean, Kyle Dubas is a real good GM. And on Monday night, I think it was announced in real life that the Toronto Maple Leafs fired a GM. So maybe Kyle Dubas, our general manager, that used to be Toronto and got fired there or left there to come here, maybe he wasn't the problem in Toronto. Maybe Toronto has another problem that's holding them back from getting a Stanley Cup when everybody says that Canada's Canada's hockey sport. Maybe there's something else holding the Toronto Maple Leafs back because they fired the general manager got after Kyle Dubas. In my opinion, Kyle Dubas could be in line to win general manager of the year. I mean, I know some people can say Buffalo Sabres, but if you guys remember, and you are Buffalo Sabres fans, the Buffalo Sabres fired their general manager this year, so I don't know if the new acting one can get it. It's going to be interesting to see when the awards come, but Kyle Dubas has really turned around the Penguins. A lot of people, like I said, like I preach a lot on my podcast, a lot of people think, like I keep on saying my podcast and my episodes, a lot of people thought we would be number one trying to suck for Gavin McKinnon and a draft pick, since we have a lot of draft picks this year, and be in the top and try to be in the lottery. But now we're in the second place, and these young Penguins have done it quite well. Because if you remember, they had some good winning games too when Sidney Crosby was out for that long time after the Winter Olympics, and they had a pretty good run before the Winter Olympics. They're doing pretty good. I mean, Dan Meese has really turned this program around, and so has general manager Kyle Dubas. Kyle Dubas had to come in on a stupid Ron Rexall crap. The stupid guy from Philadelphia, Ron Rexall, that nobody likes in this state in Pittsburgh because he kind of tried to screw the Penguins. But Kyle Dubas had to come and fix that. He's done quite some miracles trying to fix up Ron Rexall's dumb mistakes. I mean, that's quite impressive. I can't believe how good Kyle Dubas is doing and how good he's fixing up the mistakes that Ron Rexall, or however you say his name, the previous manager from Philadelphia, messed it up. But we'll see. I mean, the Penguins haven't been in the playoffs the last 3 years, and it seems like every year the Penguins in the playoffs, even if they didn't go far, besides that drought. We need to end this drought. Crosby's not getting younger. Neither's have getting Malcolm Brian Rust or Chris Letang. We need to have a nice run of him. And I can't believe it either, too, that in real life, Erik Karlsson's looking a lot better. A lot of people thought Erik Karlsson might be traded. I mean, that's not good. That wasn't a good trade. But now, for some reason, with the new general manager and the new coach, they really got the best out of Erik Karlsson. And it's looking like the best player that we wanted him to look like when we traded for him a while back from the San Jose Sharks. So now he's looking like the clear team MVP. He's really helped the Penguins through the droughts without having Evgeny Malkin do some suspension and some time on the injury report, and then due to Crosby having that long extended injury after the Winter Olympic break. But my hats are off to him. He's doing pretty good. I can't believe how good he's doing. Keep it up. And last night, the Penguins won 5-1 against the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings were all right on their tail, too. Stu Skinner had a really good game. Hopefully, Stu Skinner from the Edmonton Oilers can get going again. Because the Edmonton Oilers have always been in the Stanley Cup. The Edmonton Oilers were in the Stanley Cup the last 2 years, but for some reason lost. Sometimes it wasn't all on him. It was on their defense and they couldn't get in. The Florida Panthers was hot. So maybe if we can get him on the hot streak, that'd be good too for the long playoff run. Or if Arthur Sheeloff can go back on the hot streak. That's something that's been plaguing the Penguins too. They've been having shaky goaltending for the last few games. But the last 2 games, they've been doing pretty good. So last up that can hold up, and they can have a deep playoff run if they make it. I mean, they still do have a couple games left and have a tough back-to-back against the Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers, even though the Florida Panthers aren't doing as hot this year as they've been in past. And they play the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow. They have an off day today, and they play the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow. So there is going to be some pivotal win games. But luckily, they got 92 points now, And luckily last night, the Buffalo Sabres, thank you, Brandon, the Buffalo Sabres. But luckily the Buffalo Sabres beat the Islanders, which is good because the Penguins needed them to lose. We beat the Red Wings, which is good because they were right on their tail. The New York Islanders lost to the Buffalo Sabres, like I said, so that's good. The Ottawa Senators are close. The Florida Panthers beat them, so that's good for the Penguins. The Devils lost. I don't know if they were. The Flyers lost to the Capitals, so that's good for the Penguins. And the Blue Jackets lost, who were right on their tail. So that's good. But the Penguins don't need to keep losing, but that's good to have a couple games in hand now. So if they do drop one of these games, since it's going to be a long stretch near the end, that it might not mess up. But luckily now they have a really good chance of making the playoffs. But let's not count our chickens before they're hatched. Let's hope they can keep winning. Like I said, they have an off day today. Last night's games, Boston Bruins won 6-3 over the Dallas Stars. The Penguins won 5-1. We'll go with the box score in that game and say who scored. I watched some of that game. It was good. Ricardo Rakell scored. Anthony Mathis scored. Igor scored. The guy we got in Justin Brazeau. And Nicole Achari. Nicole Achari is doing pretty good this year. I can't believe how good Nicole Achari is doing. Achari is looking really better for the Penguins. And so is Justin Brazeau. That's another free agent signing that was a previous one-year deal that Kyle Davis, a great GM, brought in. Who would have thought that pairing him with a different lineup would have him come out this year? Even Anthony Mathis. Anthony Mathis having a career year. And he's a free agent. I mean, that's like Poppy Indy was saying last night on Night Sports Call. What are you going to do with him? Are you going to try to re-sign him or are you going to let him walk? But he is having a career year. Who would have thought that Anthony Mathis, after having I know he had some injuries into plaguing him last year. Who would have thought he would have had a good year this year? That's one good addition by Kyle Davis has done. It's going to be interesting to see because the Penguins have been getting a lot of draft picks too for the future. So they're going to try to build up with a young future. And we're going to see what Kyle Davis can do. I know he has some bad rap in Toronto, but I don't think he was the problem with Toronto. I think it might be something else in Toronto that's the problem. Because like I said, the general manager got fired. But that's nice the Penguins won. Like I said, they have off today. No joke. And they play tomorrow. Tonight we got the Canucks and the Avalanche. I think the Avalanche are going to beat the Canucks. I think the Blues will beat the Kings, and I think the Ducks will beat the Sharks. Oh, they don't play until Saturday. Oh, I guess they don't play until Saturday. I guess the Penguins have off until Saturday and then have Sunday. The Penguins have off a couple of days, so let's hope they can get some rest that they need and not cool off because they're doing pretty good right now. We'll talk more about the Penguins in the upcoming games later on videos when they play. But tonight they have a night off, so that's good. Oh, they play tomorrow on Thursday against the Lightning in Tampa Bay. And then they have the back-to-back Saturday and Sunday against the Florida Panthers. But we'll talk more about that game tomorrow. But I think they're going to win tomorrow, so we'll say that today. We'll get to Thursday's video later just in case of it. Also, the Boston Celtics have made the playoffs yet again. Who would have thought that the Boston Celtics would be in the playoffs? It's quite impressive that the Boston Celtics are in the playoffs again. People thought this would be a down year because we didn't have Jason Tatum for the whole year, but he came back sooner than expected of his torn Achilles. So that's good to see the Boston Celtics are doing good, and they're going to be in it. Let's hope they can get a second seed, but they're still trying to fight to see what seed they are. But at least they're going to have a top 6 seed, so that's good. I think they have a good shot of winning it all this year. I think the Celtics beat the Heat tonight. It's in Miami. It's at 7:30 on ESPN. I think the Celtics win tonight. I think the Sixers beat the Wizards. I think the Magic beat the Hawks. I think the Knicks beat the Grizzlies. I think the Raptors beat the Kings. I think the Pacers beat the Bulls. Pacers beat the Bulls. The Bucks beat the Rockets. The Nuggets beat the Jazz. The Spurs beat the Warriors. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting time, but I think the Celtics win tonight. They're on the way to the playoff again, and Jason Tatum's looking like he's starting to get hot again, which is good. Some people thought he might be off a little bit, but now he's starting to heat up again, so that's good for the Boston Celtics. The Penguins are on back-to-back wins. They won last night in Cincinnati, and they won today, and they finally got their first sweep. Raise the Jolly Roger. Let's go Bucks. That's good. A lot of my friends are complaining about Paul Skeens wasn't doing good, but Paul Skeens did really good today. He only gave up 3 hits and 1 earned run, so he's doing a lot better. Now his ERA's under 9, at 9.35 right now, so he's doing a lot better. I mean, the first game was just a fluke. He just had a bad game, and we also know that O'Neal Cruz had a couple of mishaps. But who would have figured that Cruz would have 3 home runs? Cruz had 2 home runs last night and a home run party for the Pirates, which we'll get into in a couple minutes here. And he had another 3-run home run today. Bad's doing pretty good. But Cruz's glove still needs to do a lot better in the outfield. But I can't complain today because the Pirates won 8-3. Now the Pirates are 3-3. The Pirates are 3-3. 3 wins and 3 losses. They're at 500, so that's good. I still think they're going to have a good season. They finally have their home opener tomorrow, 4-12 against the Baltimore Orioles. So let's hope they can win that game. We're going to have Mitch Keller on the mound tomorrow. Paul Skeens got to win, so it's 1-1. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits and 1 earned run, and 5 Ks and 2 bases on balls. Or 2 walks. I don't know why I did like that. And that's not no joke. Cruz had a home run today, making it 3-0. That's good. Paul Skeens had 2. Luckily this time he didn't mess it up in the first inning, but Paul Skeens so far this year has had 2 innings where the Pirates have led before he came on. Let's hope I can continue and they can continue to lead. Because we don't need Paul Skeens to do bad this year. We need him to have a good year and not be 500. So let's hope we can keep that up. But Cruz had another home run today. He's had 2 home runs in Cincinnati. Let's hope we can hit the Cruz bombs in Pittsburgh and not only in Cincinnati this year. Kornowitz walked and Cruz scored. Trujillo to second. Gonzalez singled to left and Reynolds home run to right. And Gonzalez scored. Reynolds had another Reynolds bomb, and he had another Reynolds bomb last night. That's good to see Reynolds doing good. Reynolds was having a slow start, but now it looks like his bat's starting to get hot. And I know a lot of people are going to say that the Pirates' bat's not hot, but sometimes it is a little colder up here, and you got to wait for it to get a little warmer for the bats to start heating up. And it also is the 3rd game or 6th game of the season, so pump the brakes. The Pirates are still going to be good. Now they're back at 500. They won 8-3 last night too. No way.
When we hit the pothole, I worried we'd be stranded for hours.
The Pirates won 8-3 last night as well, so that's good. And it's good too that even though they lost 2-0 the first night, it's good they had back-to-back wins against the Reds because the Reds are in the division, and it's good that we have a division series win as our first series win of the season. So that's good. We need to keep beating the Reds because the ones that matter are the ones in our division. York sacrifice on Ahern home run. Brian Ahern's looking pretty good. He came from the Baltimore Orioles and San Diego Padres, and he had a couple home runs so far this season. And him and Brandon Lau are looking really good for the Pirates, and looking like really good additions by this general manager. And I don't know how good it'll be. I mean, we'll talk about 1 minute here in a minute. Reynolds had a home run last night too. Cruz had a home run. 1 of 2. And the Cruz had another home run. Cruz had 2 home runs last night, so that's good. I know people are talking about McCutchen, about maybe the Penguins might have, Pirates, said again. Maybe the Pirates might have messed up by getting Marcell Ozuna. I know Marcell Ozuna's not doing good right now, but let's just pump the brakes and see what happens for the rest of the year. I know McCutchen's getting off the hot year, and it's not looking good right now, but we'll see what happens. It's still a young baseball season. We still have 150 some odd games left now. So let's just pump the brakes. I think the Pirates are going to do pretty good this year. But we'll see what Marcell Ozuna does. I mean, I know the Rangers are doing pretty good, but it might be a little warmer in Texas. But we'll see how good the whole year does. And maybe Marcell Ozuna can do good. But let's hope it doesn't backfire. The Pirates need a lot of hitters. I mean, Brandon Lowe looking pretty good right now, too. He's had a lot of home runs for the Pirates in the last couple games. He's looking pretty good. It's nice to see Brian Reynolds finally starting to get some hits. I missed the Reynolds bombs, but now he had a couple on his name from tonight and last night, or today and last night's game. And Cruz is doing pretty good. If that's one thing that we need, if Cruz can't do in the outfield, it messes up a little bit. We need his bat to be hot. And we need a lot of Cruz missiles this year. If we can get a lot of Cruz missiles, that'd be good. And I mean, he's making up for his name right now and making good graces in Stache sports world right now. But that's what they need. They looked pretty good last night. Last night they keep looking good. Like I said, they have an off day tomorrow, and then they play on Friday against the Baltimore Orioles at 4:12 because it's actually area code of Pittsburgh on opening day. And Mitch Keller will be the opening day pitcher. Mitch Keller will be the opening day pitcher for the Pirates on opening day. I don't know who's going to be pitching for the Baltimore Orioles. But I'm really glad we got Brandon Lowe and Ryan O'Harn. Ryan O'Harn's had a couple home runs too. O'Harn's looking pretty good in the outfield, and they sometimes play him in the basement. But when are we going to call up Connor Griffin? We need to call Connor Griffin as soon as possible. He's starting to hit the ball really good in spring training, AAA. We need to call him up pretty soon. We need a good shortstop. I mean, Trio did look a little better today, but Trio's bat's been really warm. And it would be nice to have that pop in Connor Griffin's bat and have Connor Griffin as a shortstop and have a good defense in Connor Griffin. We really need to call Connor Griffin up rather sooner than later. It's going to be interesting to see how long they do. Hope it's not too long because he's a young upcomer, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting year for the Pirates. I still think it's going to be a good year, and now they're at 500. We'll see what they do. At least their bats are doing good. And now they have even a welder's max. That's nice because the Steel City, they have a welder's max they put on the faces when they hit a home run. It's nice to see the clubhouse is doing a lot better and having a lot more energy. Let's hope that helps have a good year for the Pirates, too. I think the Pirates have a good year this year. Like I said plenty of times, I think they have 80 wins or more, and maybe even a playoff team still. I know we're 3-3 now, and now back to 500, and we finally won our first series, so we got that out of our belt. But now we're going to have to go home for the first time all year. We've bet all 6 games so far on the road. 3 in Mets when they won the last game in the extra innings on Sunday, so that was a good game. And then 3 in Cincinnati, and we lost the game on Monday night, but that wasn't good. I think the Mets will beat the Cardinals. It's tied 1-1 right now. It looks like the Astros are going to beat the Red Sox, unless the Red Sox can come back. The Cubs are going to beat the Angels, unless the Angels can come back. The Yankees, I think the Mariners come back and beat the Yankees. I think the Indians lose to the Dodgers. The Pirates beat the Reds 8-3. The Rockies beat the Blue Jays 2-1. The Brew Crew won 8-2. I think the Tigers are going to win. I think the Padres are going to lose. I think the Royals will win. The Braves won 5-1. Wow, the Braves won. The Baltimore Orioles won, and they're 3-3, same record as the Pirates. So if they don't have a game tomorrow, they'll be the same record as the Pirates when they come in, and they won 8-3 today. The Phillies won, and they're 3-3 too. But they play the Nationals. Oh, the Marlins won, and they're 5-1. How about the Marlins? They're looking pretty decent here. But let's see when they actually play teams that are actually good. I mean, no knock, but they play the Rockies and the White Sox, so I think they're going to be probably the 2 worst baseball teams this year. So let's see what happens when they actually play good competition and down there in Miami and see how good the Marlins are. I mean, I know they might be good this year, but we'll see. They might be young fishes that fly, but you know they're probably going to trade all the good players away like the Marlins always do. But we'll see. I'm a Pirates fan, so I got to worry about the Pirates. But we'll see how good the Marlins can do. They're doing pretty good right now, but like I said, let's see what they do when they play against real competition. Last night it was approved on by the NFL committee that the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2027 season will be playing their game in Orlando. This is not a joke. In 2027, the Jaguars will be the Orlando Jaguars for that year and playing all of their home games that aren't in London and Jacksonville. All of their home games that aren't in London and Orlando for the 2027 season. But they're not relocating from Jacksonville, so don't worry, don't have a panic attack. We're just playing in Orlando for 1 year because the stadium in Jacksonville is getting renovated yet again. And they can't play in there because of the millions and billions of renovations they're doing. They can't play for the millions of renovations, the $1 million renovations they're doing, or whatever, how much it is. Basically, they're gonna have to be fixing up the stadium and renovating it the whole year. So they have to find another place to play while they get the stadium all new and looking good for new and upcoming draft picks and players to have on their team, and for the fans like Mr. Frucci that go to the games. So they'll be playing Orlando for 1 year while they renovate their stadium and make it look all fancy and all brand new. But that's okay. They'll be back in 2028 in Jacksonville where they belong, and will still be. But it depends on how. But they still have games in Orlando. I mean, it's not that far. It's only 2.5 hours from Jacksonville. But maybe they might have a bus for some people. But we'll see. But that's one of the news yesterday about the Jaguars are playing at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, not the UCF football stadium, but Camping World, where they have some of the bowl games like the Duke Mayo, whatever the bowl games are for Orlando. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but where they have the Camping World Classics in the college stadiums, college teams, they'll be playing their games at Camping World Stadium for 1 year. So that's nice, but they can play in Orlando for 1 year while their stadium gets renovated. I wonder what it renovated. I mean, it's been open since 1995, so it's going to need some renovations too to look more modern, and that's what a lot of these stadiums are. I wonder how long it's going to be until Acrisure Stadium needs to get renovated like that. Another stadium. I mean, I know some stadiums like Lambeau Field, that's old and ancient, and we're just going to probably keep that until it falls apart or whatever. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I know a lot of these new stadiums are coming around and they need to upgrade them. Especially in Jacksonville, you want that nice fancy stadium for the Super Bowls. Because in Jacksonville, it's nice and warm in Jacksonville, so you don't have to worry about snow like up here in Pittsburgh or up north. That's why all the Super Bowls are in like warmer states. So that's nice to have a nicer stadium and try to compete with Las Vegas to try to get Super Bowls and stuff. The Buffalo Bills will be opening a new stadium next year, and they're going to have 2 big bison, the Buffalo Bills bison, a big house outside in front of them. They're going to light up blue and red. That's nice. It's going to be a nice feature in a nice stadium in Buffalo for the Buffalo Bills, but it's going to be an open stadium, so they probably won't have a Super Bowl there. In other news, they had an annual coaches meeting where they voted for the Jaguars to have the Jaguars play in Orlando for 1 year in 2027. But this year they'll be playing in Jacksonville, but that's next year when they have renovations to the stadium. Then they'll be back in Jacksonville for the foreseeable future. But they also had an annual coaches pictures, and the only one that didn't come to the pictures was the new Browns head coach because he was getting a haircut. Why didn't he schedule a haircut for a different day? I don't know. And we still don't know yet if Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year. All we heard from people that were talking about Aaron Rodgers coming back next year, like Coach Mike McCarthy when he was on the Pat McAfee show or stuff, and the interviews this week by the local media at the annual coaches meeting because he didn't get a haircut and he showed up. All he said was that we're still waiting on him and they're having conversations daily. He didn't say we're just having conversations since they used to be in Green Bay about good old days in the Green Bay Packers uniforms, or we're having conversations about him returning. I mean, I think he's going to return to the Steelers, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see. Our owner said he should have something by draft day. Let's say we have something by draft day, because we need to know what that is, and we're going to see what we do in the draft because it's in Pittsburgh. We're just going to be big noise in the draft since it's in Pittsburgh this year. And what the Steelers are going to do, but we'll talk more about that later when that comes up around the corner. But we'll see. I still think Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I don't know if I want him. I kind of wish what Will Howard can do, to be quite honest. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers with this team might be pretty good. But if they did get a receiver, maybe we can always draft another receiver in the draft this year. But we got him, whoever the quarterback is next year, we at least got him 2 good receivers now, in DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr., which something we missed last year. I know we had Calvin Austin, but he's only 2 inches taller than me, and they couldn't really figure him out. I mean, I knew he had a good year and had some good plays, but we'll see. I'm more excited about Michael Pittman coming in and not giving up that much like the Broncos did for Jalen Waddle, but we'll talk about more of that later. Thank you for watching Stache Sports. I can't believe that Duke lost, but that was a good game. I'm glad the Penguins are on a 2-game win streak. Like I said, they can keep on a win streak. They need to keep on because this is a crucial part of the season, and the Penguins need to keep winning. Let's get the Pirates finally win the series and get up to 500 at the beginning of the season. Let's hope they can keep winning and win their first home game of the season and have a big crowd. But we'll see. I know today's April 1st, but all the stuff I said in my video is true. I'm not joking about the Jaguars moving to Orlando because the stadium's getting renovated. That's true. You can look it up on the internet. But thank you for watching Stache Sports. Thank you for watching Stache Sports. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Please like and share my videos.